What's going on, guys? It's Just Keep Reaching Daily, episode 2.
You ain't messing with the flow, you ain't messing with my vision. Messing with the money, you ain't messing with decisions. Yeah, you messing with the team, then you messing with the squad. Mess with one of us, you be messing with them all. Yeah. Staying up late, making it right, living it up to my name. Focus on doing it better. You just be doing the same, you doing it lame. I'm doing like everything changed. Forget all the money, forget all the fame.
Wake up! It's your day, it's your time. Get out there! 100% every single day, just keep reaching. Now it's time for me to educate, deliver all over the place, every platform that I can possibly think of, add so much value because there's no cap. Because there's no cap on legacy. Legacy is something that you do forever, and that will be there forever after you're gone. That's why, start with referral, get your base, grow that, then blast information, help people every day. Information, value, content everywhere, and you'll never have to worry about a thing again. What's going on, guys? Joe Rosner here. I just wanted to hop on and tell you a little bit about me, who I am, right? I haven't really talked a lot about where my journey started, what, how I got to where I'm at, and, what it kind of took. And I just wanted to give you guys a little insight, a little bit of background about me, and so you guys can know more of who I am. So basically, my journey started, I had a rough childhood. I was beat when I was a child. I was put into foster care for about 4 years. I was adopted, and I feel like that's really, like, growing up on a farm in that environment, that's really where entrepreneurship kind of started for me, because what we did as a family is we grew crops, we grew produce, and we sold it at local stands, around town. We had a stand out in our on the farm out by the road that we had built, a little thing where people would come, they'd buy corn, they'd buy strawberries, they'd buy everything that we possibly could sell and grow in Wisconsin. And that's kind of where my entrepreneur bone, I feel like, kind of kicked off. And from there, I've always had, a really hard work ethic. Grew up on the farm, working, summers, mowing lawns, doing, baling hay, all of that type of stuff. And I moved into, working into the factory. My family, we did construction and doing that stuff. And then from there, I did a little bit I worked in some restaurants. My family owns a couple restaurants. I was a cook in a couple different restaurants. And my journey began after, I went to college, or after I went to high school. High school, I was barely there. It was just one of those things that I was trying to get out as quick as possible. I was more into, doing everything else but that. And the moment I graduated and got out of there, I decided, I was going to join the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps as, First Light Armor Reconnaissance Battalion, so out in San Diego. And we deployed a couple of times, went through that journey, which really instilled a lot of different things in me, because I already had, really good work ethic and that stuff, but that instilled a lot of, leadership traits that a lot of people, I feel, don't necessarily employ to the, to 100%, or don't know that they have inside of them. And that kind of opened up a whole bunch of doors for me as far as the different things that led to my journey to here, is knowing that I was capable of more every single day. I mean, being a Marine is one of the highlights that a lot of people, I don't really think understand that everything is done for a reason while you're in there, and everything that is implemented has a strategy to it. And learning that through the courses of the years that I was in and being, on deployments and stuff, really took me to another level as a person. I, ended up getting out of the Marine Corps and going to college out in California for kinesiology. And at the same time, I was doing contract training and then managing a couple of GNCs while donating and working with Operation Rebound out of Challenge Athletes Foundation and Mission Continues as well, a couple nonprofits. That's when I realized really what I wanted to do, and when I was really the happiest in my life was when I was giving back or doing something for other people, and when I was always a part of something bigger than myself. And I moved, after being in California for about 8 years, I moved back to the Midwest, and I started, working, GNCs, multiple GNCs, managing GNCs there. And from that point, I realized, I wanted to get more into training, and contract training was kind of hard. I didn't know a lot of people in the area that I was, that I was working in. And so I decided I was going to go work for a gym. Well, after I got in there, it was a very short period of time, and I got promoted pretty quickly to management in the training department, surpassed some of the other positions fairly quickly, and that was one of the biggest experiences as far as into management, into businesses that took me to another level. So while I was there, I created a $1.12 million training team, and was on explosive growth academy through them. And then I realized shortly after that, me and my wife, we were trying to have triplets, and we were trying to have kids, sorry. We have triplets now, but we were trying to have kids. We were struggling a little bit, went through the IVF process, put us in quite a bit of debt doing that. And we ended up finding out that we were pregnant. She was pregnant with triplets. And anybody who's ever worked in the gym industry realizes that your hours can range from 60 to 70, sometimes 80 hours a week, depending on where you're at and how big your facility is and the demands of it. And when I realized that, I wasn't going to have enough time, and the kids were born, and I was spending all the time working, not having the time that I needed to, still living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet. And it was tough. It was really, really rough. Especially when, I worked an hour away from home. So I was driving, back and forth quite a bit. And I realized I needed to do something different, something that allowed me a lot more time to be with, my kids and my wife. And so I decided, I branched off, and I started doing some network marketing, and did well in the beginning with that but it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. But what happened is in between there, I had, I call it dumb tax, because we didn't have, I messed up the insurance portion of it, and my son was born with a heart condition, so he had to have a cardiologist on hand, and was doing a whole bunch of stuff with his heart, and I ended up getting a bill in the mail for $274,000, and scared the shit out of me. And from that point, I felt hopeless, brand new father, no real income coming in yet, and nowhere to really go from that point. And so I started feeling sorry for myself a little bit, and then I realized, guess what, like I have to figure something out. We have to move forward. We ended up selling everything that we had to move forward. And it wasn't until we literally lost everything, and we were driving back, and I realized that I have something that a lot of people don't have, is I have time and I have love. And if I can instill that into facilities, I could help them grow their businesses if they're struggling. And that's when I reached out, and I went into a couple of different facilities, and that's how my consulting business took off, was me basically walking in and helping these gyms grow their business. And one person heard, and then the next, and then the next, and then it started to grow that way. And from that point, I realized, it wasn't just that. I could do it in multiple different businesses. And I did, some stuff with other types of businesses where I would help them grow their profits, talk about sales, strategy, business strategy. Do they have a foundation? And, I started implementing all of these things, and hiring the right people, and training in the right staff, and showing them the differences of how they could grow their business. And I realized that a lot of things obviously were going online, and as that was taking off, I've been, doing some stuff online. I started doing online coaching for, personal training, and that ended up taking off quite well. It was a very short period of time, and, I created over $50,000 in a couple of months doing, online personal training, online fitness coaching. And I realized that there's a lot of people out there struggling that were online coaches with how to implement just different strategies and different techniques to create a foundation to grow a long-lasting business. And from that point forward, I realized I could benefit them as well. And I created a couple of different programs, the Joe Rosner Experience, and then, the mentorship, where I help online coaches, basically grow all areas of their business and, implement these daily strategies and these, so that way they can forecast their business out, and not be struggling and hustling month to month. And it just kind of took off. So that's kind of where where I came from, and kind of what's brought me to where I am today. And yeah, so that's kind of, my story. And I hope that, this inspires somebody. I hope that you got some value from it somewhere in there. If anything, to remember to just keep reaching and never give up. We all have moments of doubt. We all have moments of fear. And sometimes that can creep into our mind and hold us back. But moving forward, just know that you're never alone. There's always somebody out there that has been through something similar to you, and they've made it. And I know that you can make it too. So I was super happy to tell my story and share it with you guys. If this inspired you, or if you really liked it, please comment below, or give me some love, or maybe share it if somebody else that might be able to benefit from it. As always, just keep reaching and lead from the heart.
The same, you doing it lame, I'm doing like everything changed. Forget all the money, forget all the fame. I still would've done it if they would've played all of the music I make every day. Like whoa, crazy the way the world goes. Blind when you look at it close. Zoom out when you viewing the picture. Perspective is all that we know. I'm all on my zone, I'm all on my own. Keep making a difference, I'm chasing the tones. I'm finding myself with the more that